Planning a frugal retirement. What does that mean? Well, I hear a lot of people planning retirement through the 401ks and investments, and I hear about them having, $1 million to 2 million to 3 million to 4 million. I mean, all these paper assets. Anyway, I don't know if it's real or not, but if it is real, that's okay. But some people, I think over 50% of Americans do not have investments. So these people are living a retirement strictly on Social Security income. Okay, so this is what I mean by a frugal retirement. It's basically just a retirement living off the minimum requirements or the minimum assets available, such as Social Security. Now, a lot of people complain about Social Security benefits. They complain that they can't depend on it. They don't know if it's going to last. But actually, Social Security benefits have been pretty consistent since it started. I don't think anybody has been cut off the program. Now, granted, not everybody qualifies for Social Security benefits because there are qualifications, such as you have to work a certain amount of years. I don't know if it's 10 years or 20 years. A lot of people don't mention that Social Security is also income-based. Okay, so how much you made while you were working is going to influence how much you receive when you retire in Social Security benefits. So this is, you don't hear too many people, talking about that. What determines how much Social Security benefits you receive actually is what you put into it. Okay, so depending on how much money you made when you were working will determine how much Social Security you receive when you retire, because this is what you put into the Social Security system, basically. Okay, so let me go to my notes that I made. Okay, planning for retirement without debt. Okay, debt is the biggest thing that ruins the retirement experience for people. A lot of people are retiring with high debt. They have poor financial habits. They spend too much money. Okay, there are many different ways to retire. You can plan your retirement. You can have an unplanned retirement, which is basically you don't think about it. You just get old and, you never plan anything. So you can imagine the dangers in that, financial dangers. Okay, there's the only Social Security retirement. A lot of people are just surviving off Social Security. Okay, they don't have the 401ks. They don't have the savings. They don't have the investments. Okay. Also, we have people that are surviving on Social Security plus investments. Good for them. Then we have people that have Social Security, investments, and company retirement benefits. Now, those people are awesome. Okay, they're great. They're blessed. Hoorah, hoorah. And then we have those people that have low debt retirement and high savings. So those people are pretty good too. And I guess anybody could have high savings, including the people with company benefits. And I mean, anybody could have a savings account. And then we have high debt retirement with no savings at all. These people are in a lot of trouble, okay? Because they're retiring, making less money. Some people make the same money at retirement, actually, but most people make less. Plus, they have the same bills. They have mortgage. They have credit cards. They have the car notes. These people are in a lot of trouble. And then some people never retire. They just keep working till they die. And that could be for different reasons. Sometimes it could be because they can't afford to retire. Other times it could be because they're just greedy. Other times it could be because they enjoy working. There's different reasons for that. We do have some 80-year-olds that claim, they're millionaires and they're still working. And we know that they don't need to work, or maybe they do, but they have to enjoy working. If they're 80 years old and they're millionaires and they're still working, I mean, they have to enjoy it. There's no other explanation. Okay, and some people continue welfare forever. Now, I don't know too much about the welfare system because I never qualified for welfare. I think I did apply for some food stamps when I was in college. Oh, that must have been 30 years ago. And I was denied. Or I think one time I may have gotten $15 a month or something like that. But I didn't have any children. And I didn't want to have any children because I was in poverty and I did not want to bring children up in poverty. I didn't want my child to have to suffer the way that I was suffering at that time. So I never qualified for welfare, so I couldn't get it. So I don't know too much about that, but I think when you're young, if you qualify for welfare, which I think the way you qualify is just, you just have to keep your income low, which is not something that is very appealing to me. And I think as long as you keep your income under a certain level, you probably qualify for welfare. And so I don't think you ever have a peak in your finances with the welfare. I think it just continues, and I guess you just, get what you need when you retire. You're not allowed to have, a large saving account or anything like that because, of course, that would mess up your qualifications for the welfare system. Okay, so that's the different types of retirement, that you can plan. Now, the average retirement age in the United States is 63 years old. You can retire at 62 because some people can retire from their employment after 20 years, but it's not a full retirement because you can't get Social Security until you turn 65. So at age 65, no, I apologize. You can get Social Security at age 62, but you can't qualify for Medicare until age 65. So some people continue their insurance from their employment benefits, and other people, go with Medicare at age 65 or both. And some people wait to retire at age 67 because at that age in America, or the United States, you can get the full retirement benefit at that age. So if you retire earlier, you won't get the full retirement benefits. So most people that are concerned about the money and getting the most money, they tend to work longer before they retire. Some people choose not to retire because they can't afford it. We already talked about that. Okay. The frugal and simple retirement plan of paying off all your debts and building your savings up, which usually takes about 30 years to achieve, is a very smart way to reduce your monthly bills when you retire. The basic monthly bills are utilities, food, and home maintenance costs. Planning for retirement starts at birth. Whether you realize it or not, we are all working towards retirement. The very beginning of your career, whether you realize it or not, is preparing you for retirement. Because the more years you work, the more opportunities you have to increase your retirement benefits. You also must work a certain number of years before you qualify for retirement. We talked about that. Okay, during early adulthood, while you're raising your children, it may be very difficult to save money or pay off debts quickly. However, the more you can pay off quickly, the less money you will pay in interest. So I understand it's hard when you're raising your children, but I'm telling you, these credit cards are worse now because the interest is higher. You cannot find a credit card with 11% interest today. Those days are over. And as you get older, of course, your pay increases. But anyway, to the people raising a family, I understand that you're probably not thinking about retirement, but retirement is happening. Whether you're raising your family, not thinking about it, or thinking about it, it's going to come. So how you can help is keep your debts low. Even though you have to buy things for your children, just buy what you can afford, okay? If you can't afford something, don't buy it. That's how I see it, because you have to have a plan with these debts. And these credit card people, they are not playing, okay? They are not playing with this interest, okay? So keep your debts low. Plan things ahead, because I did plan my family, and I planned his vehicle. I already had that planned out well before he started driving, that I was gonna give him my old vehicle. And so planning can save you a lot of money. So I would say, be a planner. So it takes about 18 to 20 years to raise your family. And we usually retire in 30 to 40 years. So that's the timeline. Once your family is grown, the years after that, you can really compound your savings and your paying down your bills so you can be ready for retirement as a debt-free person. So I hear some investment influencers encouraging people to invest everything they have and pay off none of their debts. Don't pay your house off. They have a bunch of vehicles. And it's just ridiculous. And they want the people to put all their money into investments. And so basically that doesn't make sense to me, because if you have investments but you still have a mortgage to pay, and some of them have 2 and 3 mortgages to pay, which makes no sense. Even if they're renting out those houses, they're just renting it out to pay the mortgage and pay the insurance and pay the taxes. That's a zero balance. That means you have zero. That is not generational wealth. That is just generational debt. That's all it is. If you passed away today and you have 3 properties that you're paying mortgages on, come on, you cannot tell me that this is generational wealth. I don't care how much investment you have. I guess those investments would go to pay off all these debts. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, some people, investment influencers are saying, don't ever pay off your house. But I'm going to tell you that's a good way to lose your house, because you don't know what type of shape those investments are going to be in when you retire. Timing is everything. And I do know if you don't time these investments right, you can lose everything, because these investments are not guaranteed. Okay, so I don't advise that, but if that's how you feel, go with how you feel. Okay, then we hear the horror stories about these people that lost everything in bad investments. There are also horror stories of people losing retirement investments to scams or company bankruptcies. Okay? My point is, don't think that investments are more secure than your checking account and your savings account or your Social Security, because this is simply not true. Plan for the worst possible scenario by living a debt-free life. If you are debt-free, you are able to save more money because you have fewer bills. So when economic downturns come, because they always do, you won't be so affected if you have low debts. These people with high debts and a lot of risk, they're more affected by economic downturns than the people that have low debt or no debt at all. Okay? If you work for a company, take advantage of all your company benefits and what they have to offer towards your retirement. However, don't send so much money to your retirement so quickly that you have to borrow from your own retirement. Okay? I see a lot of people doing that. If you have to borrow from your retirement, that means you're sending too much money to your retirement. Okay? To your investments, your 401k, stuff like that. People often have to go back and borrow. And sometimes there's penalties for that. Okay? If you need to use your money now to pay off debt, then do what is best for you at that time while you work on planning to increase your income so that you can afford to save more money. So increasing your income is number one, okay? And then, no, I take that back. Paying off your debts, okay? Living debt-free is number one. Increasing your income is actually number two, okay? That's what you do to help your finances. If your employer allows you to cash out sick leave or PTO time when you retire, take advantage of that too. I see a lot of people use up their sick leave, their holiday time, their PTO time as soon as they earn it. And that is their right to do so. But they possibly are missing out on that extra 40,000 to 80,000 cash out check by doing so. Because I mean, if you don't use your PTO time or your sick leave, then you can get paid for it when you retire. Many workers think that by saving PTO, they are wasting money, but actually, every time they use paid day off, that is money down the drain because they were going to get paid for that day anyway if they had gone to work. The person using PTO and the person working both get paid the same, but the person working every day will also get a cash out at the end. Basically, this is extra money that no one talks about because it takes a lot of sacrifice and discipline to come to work faithfully every day. Not everyone can do that, and it's okay if you value your time off during your career rather than the extra money towards retirement. Some people are not planning for retiring from a company, so saving PTO time is not valuable to them because they are leaving within 3 to 5 years. So this extra savings tip is not going to resonate with them because they are working on other ventures. For others that have long-term goals, an extra tens of thousands of dollars can be a big boost to their retirement savings. For the people that say they want to pay a mortgage forever and pay car notes forever and have debts forever and call it a good retirement, it is just, it simply just doesn't make sense. Starting a new 30-year mortgage when you're 75 years old and knowing that you will never pay it off and claiming you are creating generational wealth is simply not true. My personal advice for a comfortable, stress-free retirement is to get rid of all the debt, increase your income sources, take advantage of all the opportunities to increase your retirement benefits, including Social Security program, which is income-based, and plan to save real cash that will easily be accessible for emergencies, along with your non-accessible and risky investment savings. Multiple sources of income is a very good retirement plan. The scripture of the day is Deuteronomy 8, verses 7 through 18. You may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors as it is today. So basically, this scripture is saying that wealth comes from God, and all the work of your hands and what you produce with your hands comes from God. Okay, let's go to this slideshow that I prepared. Let me go over that. Okay. Paying off debts will increase your financial prosperity during retirement. How frugal retirees are surviving off Social Security without draining their savings. Okay, so we talked about the different types of retirement. Basically, let's narrow it down to 3 types. Number 1 would be the social assistance retirement. It is income based. So if you're on social assistance, you have to keep your income low to qualify. Okay, then number 2, we have high debt retirement. So high debt retirement is the people that are still paying a mortgage, still paying a car note. They might be paying 5 or 6 more mortgages, because I've been hearing of people that have it in their mind that paying a mortgage is making money. So anyway, people with high debt, it could be any kind of debt, business debt, personal debt, whatever. Number 3, a debt-free retirement. That's the people that pay off their mortgage, pay off their car. They don't have a lot of subscription services. They pay off all their credit cards. And so when they retire, their bills are very low. Okay, so let's look at this slide that I made for the social assistance retirement. This is basically just continuing welfare into your retirement. These people are unfortunate that for whatever reason, because it's not a lot of income, you can't have any savings. Savings is non-existent with this retirement. Okay, this is usually not a retirement, but just a continuation of welfare assistance into retirement age. It requires no effort other than just filling out applications and maintaining an income below the poverty line so that you qualify. The biggest challenge of social assistance recipients seems to be trying to avoid non-productive activities with all your free time. So this is a big issue with people on welfare assistance, is that they seem to get into a lot of trouble. They seem to have a lot of sex, make a lot of babies. The children, by the time they're 14, they're breaking into cars, stealing cars, not going to school. It just goes on and on and on. So this is a bad place to be. If you have a chance to get off the welfare system, get off of it as soon as possible, because the statistics with criminal activity with this income group is very high. It's very, very high. So they usually have a housing subsidy, which could be partial assistance with housing or total assistance with housing. It depends on their income. They have to be low income to qualify. So they don't have any bills unless they just make some bills, for no reason. So their homes are paid for. Their food is usually paid for with food stamps or, food banks. They don't need a vehicle. They don't usually have cars. They don't need a car because If they're not working, they don't need to drive to work or anything like that. So it's no reason that they would need to have to pay a car note. Savings is not existent, because if they're able to save money, they'll lose their welfare benefits. So there's usually no savings. Debts is questionable, because a lot of times people on welfare tend to ruin their credit. So that's that. So you must work at least 10 years, I think, in the United States to qualify for Social Security at age 62. And most likely, if you only work 10 years, your Social Security benefit will be very low, because I think it starts at $50 and it can go up to $3,500. So what people don't mention about Social Security benefit is that that is also income based. So the higher your income is and the higher you put into Social Security benefit, the more you'll get out of it. So I put Social Security is usually a portion of the average of your highest 3 years income. I don't know if that's correct for everyone or not. I think it would be correct for me, but I'm not sure about everyone. Okay, I have a scripture on here. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verses 12 through 13. This says King James Version. Having damnation, because they have cast off their first faith. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers, also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. So basically, this is talking about the people that are not working, but they're always busy doing something, busy committing crimes, busy having sex, busy creating babies. They're busybodies, okay? Busy breaking the law, getting into trouble. So this scripture, is saying that lack of faith is damnation, so try to believe in the faith, believe in hard work pays off, all that good stuff. Another thing I want to say before we go to the next slide, and this is going to be in support of people on welfare. When it comes to government policy and welfare, the government would rather pay for housing and pay for food stamps than pay for birth control. Now, this was some policies way back. It could have been 10 years ago. I don't know which party it was. I think it was the Republican Party that did not want to pay for birth control. I don't know if they still offer free birth control, but I don't think they do. I think they cut a lot of services from the family planning. And so it's going to have an impact on the welfare system in the United States. If there's no birth control, if people cannot control their fertility, I know it's some people that don't work that want to have 10 kids. I know, it's some foolish people like that out there. But some people, if they can't afford birth control, what do you expect for them to do? So I think it's cheaper to pay for birth control than to pay for housing and pay for food stamps and pay, for, I guess, Medicaid and all these things. It just goes on and on and on and on. When birth control probably only costs $20 a month. And these other services cost thousands a month, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. That has a lot to do with our messed up governmental policies that we need to change. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide. Now, this is the retirement with debt. Okay, these people are high debt people. They stay in debt. Okay, now these people can possibly make a lot of money. Debt is not income based. Okay, you can be in debt with low income, you can be in debt with medium income, and you can be in debt with high income. It does not matter what your income is, you can still be in debt. Okay. So let's talk about Social Security benefits. So, like I said, Social Security is income based. However much money you made when you were working, that's going to determine how much money you get when you retire from your Social Security benefit. It's what you put into it, okay? So it could be anywhere from a $50 check to over $3,600 check per month. Okay. Now, how much savings a person in debt would have is usually not existent. Okay. Usually, if you have high debt, you don't have savings. Okay. It doesn't matter how much your house costs, because it's people living in mansions that are in debt. It doesn't matter what kind of car you're driving, because there's people that's driving Mercedes. And I don't know what these expensive cars are, because I'm not a car person. But there's Navigators. There's I'm not a good car person. I don't even know what you call them. I've seen them on TV and they look good. But I'm talking, a Rolls Royce. Okay. Rolls Royce. I can't even say it. See? Rolls Royce. Okay. That's funny. I cannot even say the name of that vehicle. But anyway, I've seen them on TV and they look beautiful. They're nice and shiny. The seats are leather. I guess they have the chrome going or whatever. But those cars are so expensive. But the point is, a lot of people, those cars are not paid for. Okay, these people are in debt. These people are not paying their taxes. They're living in mansions. They're driving the Rolls Royce. And they're not paying their taxes and they're in debt. It's so my point is, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Anybody could be in debt. Okay. So your company retirement, usually if you're fortunate enough to work for a company that has a retirement plan, that's great, because that's going to increase your retirement benefit. Sometimes they match your savings. Sometimes they have a 401k and all these retirement plans. I have a retirement plan, but I really couldn't tell you a lot about it because my employer manages it. I just put towards it what I could put, and so it's not like I'm breaking my back trying to send a whole bunch of money to this retirement plan. But, I send what I can. So that's that. So take advantage of all your company retirement plans, investments. Some people invest with their company. Some people invest independently. Some people invest with their banks. Some people, have, I guess, a broker. But the biggest thing I want you to know about investments is they're not guaranteed. So any kind of money you put in investments, it's not guaranteed. Your money in your savings account and your checking account is going to be FDIC insured, I think it is, for the first $250,000. So you want to look for that FDIC insured. You want to check if your bank participates in that insurance so that your money can be safe. So if you're a millionaire or if you have over $250,000 in your checking or savings, you need to break that up into another account, because if the bank goes under, you'll probably only get just that $250,000. And that's another thing for millionaires. I can see why they have to have their assets in other things, because the banks only insure $250,000 per account. So once you get over that, you have to invest in something. If you're a millionaire, you have to invest in something. So that makes sense. But I remember my great grandfather was a millionaire. He owned a lot of properties, but the difference between what they were doing back then in the 1950s and 60s and what they do now is, back then, if you were a millionaire, you owned your properties. You didn't have a mortgage. You didn't have a mortgage on all these properties that you don't own. Back then, there were true millionaires, not fake millionaires. They paid these properties off in cash, okay? And that was their investment, because they were afraid that they would lose millions of dollars in the banks, okay? But if you're under 250,000 in your checking and savings, and if your bank is insured with that FDIC insurance, I think, you don't have to worry about that. Now, another thing I want to point out is that the bills are the same no matter what your income is. In other words, utilities cost the same. I mean, of course, if you have a bigger house, you're going to pay more. But the amount you pay per wattage, that's the same. Okay? Now, groceries cost the same. Okay? A carton of eggs costs the same that it costs for a person making 100,000. It costs the same for a person that's making 400,000 a year. It costs the same for a person that's making 3 million a year. Eggs, bacon, cheese, milk, bread, all that stuff costs the same. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the retirement with no debt. So we see somebody has a home, 70,000 paid off in cash. Somebody has a home, 400,000 paid off. Somebody has a home, 2.5 million paid off. All of them are debt free. So no matter what their income is, they're all debt free. They're all paying the same price for eggs, cheese, milk, bread. Their groceries cost the same. Their utility, they're getting charged the same thing for wattage. The taxes go by the house you choose, so choose wisely. Homeowners insurance, taxes, all of that is based on how much your house costs. Okay, so their cars are paid off. No matter what type of car it is, from the Toyota all the way up to the Rolls Royce, it's paid off, okay? The mortgage, no matter how much your home costs, 70,000 cash or 2.5 million, is paid off, okay? Now, the Social Security, whatever you put into the Social Security system, that's what you're going to have to live on, okay? Your benefit. Your savings, whatever you were able to save, that's what you're going to have to live on. But I'll tell you, it's some people in retirement that are still saving. I know some people that live strictly on Social Security, nothing else, and they're still saving money into retirement. Okay, but it takes a lot of discipline and it takes a lot of frugality. They don't have all these extra monthly bills and subscription services and, all this nonsense bills that we tend to make. They're living very basic, very frugal. Okay, they're not living a highballer lifestyle. But it's possible to do so. I mean, if you made millions of dollars, you can do so. Okay, company retirement, if you have one, you have that. Investments, if you have some, you have that. But the basic thing I want to point out with this is that you're debt free. Now, I have an example. We'll go to the next slide. This is an example of real people that I know. So this person has $2,200 Social Security monthly benefit. Their home is paid off. Their vehicle is paid off. This person does not have any investment income. Okay, this person, real estate, taxes, very cheap, almost non-existent because of the house and the exemptions, of course. Insurance on the home is reasonable because the home it's not very expensive. It's a nice home. It was paid for in cash, and it's just, it goes by how much your home costs. Okay. Groceries, they're paying their groceries in cash every month. Utilities, they're paying their utility bills every month in cash. So the only bills that this person mainly has is groceries and utilities every month. This person is saving over $1,100 a month and living the frugal lifestyle on Social Security. They have a fixed income. They have Medicare. They're debt free. They're retired. Okay, so the reason a lot of people cannot survive off Social Security is because they have high debt. That's the reason. It's the high debt. And of course, I'm sorry, the other reason is because they don't get a lot of Social Security because they didn't work a lot or they didn't make a lot of money. That's another issue. Okay. Now the next slide is a Bible verse in Numbers chapter 8, verses 24 through 25. It says, God told Moses that the Levite priests would only work in the temple until age 50. Then they could retire. So age 50 may seem to be too young for us to retire. But in the Bible, the priests were able to retire at age 50. So age 50 is when we usually really start thinking about retirement and getting serious about planning for retirement. But retirement actually starts when we're born, because when we're born, we're starting with the education. And then when we're 16 or 18 or when we graduate college, we get our first job. So your career starts when you're born. It starts at earth. It starts at birth. It's a race, y'all. It's a race. You have to get as much education as you can, get a skill, get some training. You have to try to get the highest income you can get and have a good reputation as a good worker. Okay, next slide. This verse is Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 17 through 18. You may say to yourself, my power and my strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He that gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors, as it is today. So basically, there's some things that we can't control, such as our health. Okay. We do have some control over our health, though. We do. Because a lot of people are abusing their bodies. But basically, there are some things that are out of our control. So I always give thanks and glory to God with everything you have. Okay, the next slide, the retirement with no debt. I just want to reiterate that if you have no debt, then you won't have very many bills. Thank you for listening to Debt Free Retirement and Planning a Frugal Retirement. Be blessed.